So, out of the gate, I'm very happy to say that overall the landfill fared very well. The entire landfill is a sloped facility, but we did have one issue on the eastern side of the landfill. The water just came so fast and so quickly that it did break out of the swale, and then followed its own path down an access road to one of our basins. So we did identify some sedimentation around the outlet of that basin in the wetland area that will need to be addressed. So obviously we've notified the Board of Health, the Conservation Commission. I spoke with Ken Pickard late afternoon today. He's also going to make a trip up to the landfill tomorrow. We also did have some communication with DEP today, but we were still, assessing everything and trying to get the details together. So we'll be following up with the department first thing in the morning with the details on that and what our plan is moving forward. So our plan moving forward is just that. We use Stantec is our wetlands consultant. So Stantec will be on site tomorrow morning, and they're actually going to walk the entire area to be able to quantify and make sure everything has been identified. And then they will make recommendations based on the wetland itself about whether they think that the work should be done immediately or whether there should be a wait based on maybe plant cycles or things that I'm not knowledgeable on. So that's why we bring the Stantec in. So they'll make those recommendations, and I'll have word, at least their initial word from them that we'll be able to discuss with the Comcom when they're on site a little later on. And then obviously we'll be following up with DEP from that. So, overall, we held up great. There was a substantial amount of work done today because we had more rain coming this evening, but it was just steady showers, nowhere near 1.5 inches of rain in a half-hour period. So, pleased to say that the majority of the site did quite well.
Okay. Still, we're going to talk about the waste ban.
I have a question specific.
Oh, you have a question, I'm sorry. I didn't know what you were just asking.
Tracy, the soil stockpile, what's going to be, is there any plans for what the end resolution of that soil stockpile is to be? I know in the past it's...
Do you have a map here? Are you referring to the northern soil stockpile?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is what it is, Kevin. I don't understand what you mean about what it's going to be. I mean, it's soil that was replaced and compacted and graded and has been stabilized.
Okay, so it never has, it doesn't have any purpose to final capping or anything to landfill?
I mean, the only thing the northern soil stockpile could be would be a source of interim cover material. But it's a structure in and of itself, and it's finalized. I just want to make sure Kevin and I were talking about the same thing. We're talking about this. Yeah, that's the northern soil stockpile. So that is how it stands and how it will be.
All right, and there's no specific, it's property of the town of Southbridge, the soil stockpile itself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just a question, yes. Off topic. We'll just, somebody want to agree?
Point of order.
Point of order,
That's
off
what you say,
topic.
and then you just call me into order
Yeah.
and move on.
No, I want to make sure that there's other in the board agreement that we're off topic. Are you in agreement?
All right. Mr. Chairman, if I'm sorry, my indication for the soil stockpile was in terms of.
As was with the rainfall, I understand.
I apologize.
No, I understand that. All right, anything else with rainfall? So, the next was waste ban.
Fires, do you want to start that?
Actually, I believe Sue Stuckey would, this was discussed at the LOC. I would invite Sue to open this and make what recommendations she would. I can fill in any blanks that she feels need to be filled in.
We spoke at the landfill oversight committee about the waste ban enforcement issue that has been going on for a little while. We know that Casella monitors the situation at the landfill, identifies establishments that are violating the terms in bringing in banned items. They asked the town of Southbridge to come up with the enforcement policy and the fine structure to be a deterrent. And what Andy recommended to us and what this group agreed would be a reasonable response is to find those establishments that deliver more than 25 banned items, or more than 25 loads with banned item.
25 banned items. If there were 25 in one load, that's true.
Okay, got that? In a calendar month from any single point of origin. So the recommendation based on the realization that there are times that establishments do deliver something, it's virtually impossible not to have any banned items that ever appear in a load. But 25 a month seems like a reasonable number. And if the establishment, the point of origin, the business delivered more than 25, the fine would be incurred for every single incident of delivery of a banned item. So if it's $100 fine, and you're already up to over 25, it's $2,500 that they're hit with at the end of the month. So we thought that was a good deterrent, especially because if people were repeat violators, they would realize that they had to step up their action.
So doesn't that make the fine kick in at 2,500?
So the 26th tire, or the 26th item.
Right, as soon as they hit the 26, then I understand that they're responsible for the 25 before. So basically, you know, it's 2,500 plus,
26.
2,600.
Be 26.
Right, for everything.
42 tires would end up being a fine of $4,200.
So just the first fine, the first time they go over it, we want to start it that way, or do you want to start a little bit lighter, or, you know, and then gradually move up, or go right to the 100?
What I proposed to the LOC was that these loads are loaded by a 10-yard loader into a 100-yard truck. It's amazing that they don't catch every single tire. I mean, it's amazing that, what am I trying to say?
They catch it.
I would be amazed if they caught every single tire because of that. So there is a recognition of human error. I don't recognize 5 times human error, because then that's just a bad system act there place for catching tires and other banned items. So recognizing the potential for human error, I'm giving once a day, 25 operating days in a month. That's why we use the 25 unit as a trigger for incurring the offense. But once the 25 is hit, every one of them is a violation.
Yeah.
So once the 25 is hit, we would go back to the first one and fine from the first one. I spoke to legal if we could do it this way, and they said that as the violation was based per event, we can run the fine up as high as the offense run, because it's not there's something in 21D that says thou shalt not fine more than $1,000, but it's per violation. So as long as we call each tire violation, we're not getting concerned. And remember, we're Board of Health. We're not revenue generators. We are not here to fine people. Our goal is to curtail the improper action, the detrimental action. So when Casella first introduced the voluntary program, and a bunch of letters went out, it seemed to curtail it a little bit, but it didn't control it. And Tracy, Anna, Tom Q and I discussed this, and we felt that enforceable action would better curtail the habits.
So this conversation about the $100 was also
That was an
discussed.
idea of mine and Anna's that we went through legal and said, can we do it this way? And we introduced it to Casella. And they were worried about their, things like that, the potential of their customers saying, we're done is there, but they also, after discussion, recognize that if it curtails it, it could be beneficial to all parties, and ultimately, yeah, it is the responsibility of the place that delivers it. It's not their responsibility to make sure that the point of delivery is being proper.
So with this, obviously, the letter's gonna be sent out beforehand, correct? Because more, how many day notice are we looking at?
The
2 weeks
intent-
we looking at?
The intent is we will issue a letter within the next 2 weeks, and a rough draft, and then I'll edit it. And what it is going to do is state that as of August 1st, that will be the first month that we start tracking these. We will track for the month of August. Anybody who exceeds the 25 unit trigger, we will immediately get a letter out stating that you triggered this in violation of the letter that we sent and the enforcement that the Board of Health voted on. And if they do not pay by the end of that month, we will send them a second notice basically stating that if you do not remit within a very short period of time, we will revoke their right to send to the landfill until they remit.
This is a new policy that we're putting in place, so we've discussed the general idea, but I think we should come back and look at the language, the conditions, what timeframe they have for paying it, what consequences are if it's not paid. So just flesh it out a little bit more as a policy before we sign off on it, but at least now Tracy knows that she can go back and start giving them the warning notice.
We'll be issuing the warning notices. Everything will be coming out of our office if the board opts to adopt the
So
enforcement.
say we'll have 18
Okay.
days before
So-
this thing's supposed to take
So you
off.
want to put this on the next board meeting agenda?
They just have the specific language that we'll
And
vote
then-
on and know that it was approved by
By the board?
by a lawyer. We've gotten a legal opinion that we have all the right elements
I
in
have.
there. And the town manager just to say, does this look like the other fee and fine schedule type?
It won't be
Just-
like the other ones, and I want to remind the board that the board has separate powers from the town. I don't want to exclude the town manager, obviously I'm going to include him, talk to him about this, but the board has their own authority to adopt laws, their own authority to enforce those laws.
Yep, I'm
I
just
will
saying,
obviously include the council and the town manager. You pointed, town manager's here. I will obviously include the town council and the town manager in the notification, but it's a board decision.
So these funds that, let's just say, turns out to be $2,600, where are the funds?
The intent of this was to satisfy condition number 19 and 20, which was the recycling and the waste ban. And the condition states that monies that are retrieved from the original program are to go into a separate fund to be used for recycling efforts. So I will petition the council to allow that the intent of the conditions be followed and that money be directed to, there's a fund that we are using to do it.
So the one last thing that I'd have is that if we're gonna do this, or we'll bring this, obviously, Casella's gonna have to have a spreadsheet of what it was, what day, and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure particulars will take place, but, that way they don't come back and say, you didn't tell us.
Yeah, we're doing that.
If I may, Casella keeps a spreadsheet, and separately, we have a spotter up there, so the Board of Health keeps a spreadsheet. Those spreadsheets are often compared, so I don't think they can argue against two witnesses. Pictures are taken, our landfill spotter takes pictures of the violations, notes the truck they came out of, when they comes out of the truck, so.
So can they have a appeal process at the same time? Can they come to the Board of Health and say, negate this?
Anytime that you, essentially, when you punish somebody, you are potentially taking away their rights. Anytime you take away somebody's rights, you have to give them, you have to express in the letter. If you do not agree with this, you have the right to appeal. I believe it was before you sat on the board, but we did have 2 drivers appeal under the old program. And this board heard those appeals. So the appeal will be back to this board.
Thanks, Andy.
So you want on the agenda next week a legally approved language? Next month. Next, I work in a week.
Can't be here enough.
I love this
You
place.
can come next week.
I'll be here next week. So you want for the next
It'll
month
be at the
that a
beginning of the
legally,
month, and that'll give you enough time to kick the whole thing into
Get the
place.
language
September 1st?
I have the legal decision, it's set in the binder. What we would be probably reviewing is to ensure that that exists, and also the letter that Anna is gonna put together. What I would ask is if the board wants to review this letter, that we hold a meeting earlier rather than later. I still want to have time to get this letter out, get the points of origin notified that we're gonna do this, and institute this program by August 1st. So that would mean we would have an early meeting.
legal language for the,
For the letter, no,
for
I
the
asked,
ordinance?
what I asked for was a determination by the lawyer on, the old program worked based on, if you trip this ban item trigger, then because Casella was instituting it, we're gonna go back and look at your revenues for last year, for last month, and charge you a percentage of the revenues. Municipalities can't create a fine based on a moving target. That's why I established $100 per tire. And some of the requests, I'll call them requests, that Casella said you owe us because you tripped this, were in the $4,500 range. The only thing is Casella didn't have power to enforce, so that's why the town adopted it.
I don't know whether August 1st is gonna work.
Well, thank you very much, because you did a whole lot. The only reason why I said maybe we should look at it is because every time that I tried to repeat this sentence, I realized that I was struggling for the right word. Greater than 25 incidents
Correct.
of a banned item. It isn't just tires, but we should probably have definitions. An event is delivery of this thing, and a banned item is any of these things, and a calendar month is the period under review, and point of origin is something. So you have it all managed in your mind, but sometimes the words are a little bit.
Sometimes my mind is not a place people want to go to.
So we can look at and make sure that we believe all of those little elements are clear, so that when they get it, they can't come back and try to find some wiggle room.
I'm in agreement. We need to look at the actual document that comes out and then tweak it. Not rush to get the document out before August 1st. But if we want to have an earlier meeting just to deal with that document, that's fine if we need to. But let's make sure that we have this all, we have all our ducks in a row. Because we don't want to send something out and then send out another letter with a correction right after it. Okay, is that it, Tracy? Any questions for Tracy?
Thank you.
Thank you. You're in, I normally try to get the date, get a date. So
I'm gonna be here for the rest of the meeting, so you don't have to rush.
So I know you always
Oh,
stay.
Dave, can I borrow you grab my shirt off the back? I'll
The
leave
shirt
you
off your
here.
back?
I'll leave you
Here's
here.
your shirt.
Yeah, take it right off your back.
There we go.
Thank you.
I'll tell my wife, all right.
So agenda item 8, Maritza sent out a bunch of documents, donation box, solid waste regs, and a fee schedule. Curbside regulations, right? Storage.
You have it, is that written here, or is there a written copy?
You sent that out, right?
I've heard.
Give me 1 second, I guess this actually works.
We should have been all ready to go.
It was up and booted.
Yeah.
Mine.
I'm trying to find a donation. There's the donation box.
Alright.
There we go.
So regulations regarding
Donation.
what are we on, donation box as well?
Yeah. Do it first.
I hate you.
Well, that's not your service.
No, it's that one.
So,
So Miss Elizabeth asked me to, ask this board if we could address the messes that are occurring at the donation boxes.
Why is that not
Because I don't know how to work it.
on this? Because, oh, well, one thing it would be is he has
I
a
don't
light
want you,
cover.
I don't want you to watch my mistakes
Oh, I was wondering why the light wasn't on.
because I covered it. I don't want you guys to see.
Well, we like to see your mistakes. We like to see your password.
So while I was in Atlanta at the conference, I spent many an afternoon drafting up a couple of regulations.
Why that is loading, why don't I jump ahead? Are you ready?
Oh.
You're ready.
No, jump ahead, please.
So, I, like Andy, having, huh? You got time? Go.
We don't have time for that stuff, and that's not on the agenda.
What?
I'm just gonna hand it out to you, so I can explain it. And it says the chairman's announcement. You elected chairman, so.
So last week we passed out 2 documents to all of the members. We emailed them out. One is a regulation controlling donation boxes. The other one is a regulation controlling curbside collection and solid waste handling. So I pray or hope that the board members had opportunity to read the documents and offer comments and thoughts. I left a couple of things open to discussion within the document, but I can go to any section of the document that,
Can you scroll up
so,
to be able to read section 2? Section 3.
So you left owner as in,
I left some blanks because I'm not sure how we want to define some terms. Essentially what I did is after I wrote the regulation, I went through the regulation and identified words that I felt should be defined and brought those back to the definition section.
could you define that?
Owner, I believe, can easily be defined by using the same definition we used in the blight ordinance.
I think
I don't know if you can.
we just talked about it having to be the property owner was the person who you made the citation against.
Well, Mass General Law, not Mass General Law, Code of Massachusetts Regulation, I really shadowed that. It says, the owner of a piece of property, vacant or otherwise, shall be responsible to keep that piece of property in a clean and sanitary manner.
Right.
So no matter what the cause of that, but you brought up, well, if we can identify the cause, why not blame the person responsible?
Yep.
And there is a strong argument for that and strong argument against that. Issue being, if we blame the donation box for the mess around the donation box and it doesn't get cleaned up and the town cleans it up, we have no recourse to catch the money that we spent doing that. Whereas with a property owner, we can put a lien on the property. Now, one of the things I proposed in these regulations is these boxes shall not be placed without an agreement, a written agreement with the property owner. So the property owner would therefore be knowledgeable that that box was put there, cannot come to me and say, I didn't know he was gonna put that box there, and ultimately I can say, you're responsible for keeping it clean.
That sounds exactly like what we talked about. So owner should be
The landowner.
property owner.
Property owner.
I defined separately, I thought I defined separately, the operations, the person who, the controller. The controller is the person who owns the box. The owner of the property, we get into nuances of, well, is a bank an owner when they foreclose, and that's why I left that one open to how broad do you want the definition of owner.
Right.
And do you need to put that in there because the state law says that you cite the owner? Or do you just want to say property owner? Or do you even need to define property owner because that's
Well, if I have a
self-explanatory?
Our blight law requires a local agent if you live out of town. And we need that local agent as owner. He's got responsibility. So I think we have to actually define who an owner is, rather than let them come to court and say, I'm not the owner, I just manage the property. I'm not the owner, we're just foreclosing.
I think it should be the same thing as for any complaint for any other reason, but I know Denise has a question.
I was just curious about, could you, owner in and of itself, a single word is kind of owner, because it's property, but location owner, location
Well,
versus property in and of itself, the location owner would be the person in charge of or personal property owner, or you could define location owner as something, maybe, the location owner could be that maintenance person who has control or possession over that property to maintain it, or the actual legal authorized possessor of that piece of location, of that location. You could actually say it a bunch of ways if you say location owner. It
You
could
could actually
encompass
define
those few things
like-
you just said versus property.
You could say donation box site is the physical piece of
Yes.
property on which the donation box sits. Property owner is the person who owns the location.
But I know what you're trying to say, that the site, what you're trying to figure out who you want to find. And
I'm trying to figure out who I want to hold responsible. How far can I hold responsibility? If, let's kill Dave for a minute. Dave dies, nobody probates his will. So essentially, there's no owner. Is there a way to catch that? I'm trying to identify the owner or define the owner. And it
well,
doesn't
then
matter,
it's the heir.
it doesn't
then it's
matter if
the,
we
you know,
call it
there's-
location owner, property owner,
Right.
we define owner, and the term owner means person responsible for the property. So it doesn't matter how
And you
we
could list them.
list the name owner,
But-
whatever's
but-
comfortable.
Our fine would be against the property owner.
Correct.
Who's the property owner is where we're going.
Well, isn't it irrelevant who
Person
owns
has
the
legal
box?
responsibility. for
Correct, the
that.
box, I've already defined the box.
Right, the box owner is
The controller is the box owner. He controls
is
the box.
irrelevant in this
Right.
situation. The owner who was allowed that box to be placed on their property is, so,
Person has legal jurisdiction over that piece,
Over
over that
that
site.
Over that site.
Right.
Person has legal jurisdiction over that site.
so what's the
Actually,
best way to put that?
Because legal jurisdiction could be just about anything.
And I don't think you have to go through
Right,
a
and
lot
it
of.
could be the bank.
It could be the bank, it could be the owner.
So
You don't
the-
have to go through a lot of
Like
trouble
that.
because in Massachusetts, the law says that it's the property owner that's responsible. So just,
If you look at Massachusetts law, the property owner for the restaurant code is defined different from the property owner from the housing code is defined. Each code defines it in and of itself, and there's little nuances in each of them that drive me crazy when I try to find property owners. Let me see if I can find the Blake bylaw. I think it was effectively,
But that would
say,
fit very well, the same definition for like, because this is really about the like
Right. it is.
anyway.
I believe.
So
it
using the
was,
same definition.
But I guess if you said legal jurisdiction, what if somebody has power of attorney over someone's estate? What if, not over their estate, over their belongings because the person's out of town, so they have legal jurisdiction. You can find the person with legal jurisdiction.
So
Or
you
whatever.
just define the owner as the person who has legal jurisdiction.
And
Or
you can
something
see
like that.
our discussions of the Blake property, or the
Just
Blake,
saying,
it became a huge
so
definition
we're gonna
to
have to
catch
put the
that.
same thing
Now,
in
I
there.
can inject this in there and call this the owner.
And double check with an attorney because this is tricky and that really is the whole.
This was
Well,
all,
if
Well-
this went through and was okay for the blight law, then this should
Any-
be fine to be able to use as the definition.
any law that gets adopted after it's gone through all the approvals of the council, in the case of the Blake ordinance, and it then goes to legal for content to make sure that it will stand up to any appeals.
yeah. that's
So
what
this
you're
is
Why
already
doesn't it
been-
go to
Well,
legal
it's
before we
fine.
approve it?
Well,
Huh?
Why doesn't it
No,
go to legal before we approve it?
No,
Shouldn't we-
not before you adopt it, before you approve final draft.
Right.
Because if I send it to legal for review, and then we do it, and we don't like it and change it, and it goes back to, it ends up costing the town bank in legal.
Oh, okay.
So we come up with final draft to the point where we're comfortable with it. We send it to attorney for approval. When it comes back, we set up the hearings and hold the vote to
This-
discuss it. We'll adopt it.
I like the
That's-
blight
I'm
language.
fine with
Yeah.
this.
I
I'm
just
like-
put that,
I'm okay with this.
it just, but it keeps everything on the same,
It keeps it,
keeps everything on the same playing field. We define the blight owner as the same.
Go down to your W, where it says word. All the way down, now hold it. There you go. There you go. Click.
Okay.
yeah.
You don't have to do it now. We can-
No, I just want to make notes for myself to remember what we're doing.
So, I was just
I'm
wondering
dying.
how I could turn on that air
Did you turn
conditioner.
the AC on?
It did, then I shut it off.
So, was that all we were doing, the donation boxes today, or do you need more?
Well, I don't think we really need to do it unattended because.
I'll come up with a definition for that.
No, because that we.
Maybe
we had
punishable
like
fine,
four,
what
and
about
that's
the fine?
just basically-
Pages.
There it is right there. Red below. What about the punishable by fine,
Imprisonment is not less than.
red water? Oh, shit.
So I would ask the
Well,
board,
it's still, it's actually still illegal.
50
Red
limit.
water. Oh, shit.
Board of Health does not currently have a fine for littering.
Really?
What?
Are you serious?
I'm shocked at that.
We don't have a strong penalties, we have a strong permit fees. We don't have a strong penalties fees.
So here's a question. Who has the authority to enforce the ordinances that we put in place? Because we can't see people riding down Main Street, throwing all the McDonald's trash out the window. If we made an ordinance against littering, you would be the one stuck chasing down everybody that threw the McDonald's bags out the
Yes.
window.
Well, Eric enforces this.
I would, any agent of the Board of Health, and oftentimes I add the police to this, but the opportunity, it's much like putting the 25-foot radius of smoking within any door leading to a place that's not smoking. It's really an unenforceable law, it's just a law that's on the books so that we can enforce it should the chance begin.
Should somebody
I know
see
it's
it?
dumb to institute unenforceable laws, but there are people out there who will follow laws because it's the law.
Yep.
So we put the law in place, if we have the opportunity to catch somebody breaking that law, and when I was in another municipality, I did have one opportunity, drove up, a guy was taking a bicycle, no, it was a broken chair, out of the back of his car and putting it by a donation box, where I had this sticker on the donation box with a law in place that said thou shalt not, and I wrote the person a ticket, because I happened to catch them doing it. So it is enforceable, should we catch them in the act, it's also a deterrent for those who say, you know something, I don't break laws.
So instead of a litter alert in this donation box section, we should just have a litter ordinance that says, that defines litter and says it is a finable offense, the fine is $100 or whatever it is.
No, I think it, litter alert, basically saying, don't do this, right? And then with the little ordinance right there, and there's your fine.
Just put a number in, what's the number in there? That we just have a,
I'm asking this board to
Whatever
decide on
number
it.
I mean, and then deal with a litter ordinance.
Right, we can put a litter ordinance, but what I was aiming at particularly in this was that notifying people that even though you're doing this out of the generosity of your heart because you want to give that broken TV with a hole in it to somebody who can use it,
Know that if
It's
you're
still
caught
littering by
littering,
putting it
it's
outside the box.
littering,
It
if
just
you
is
leave it outside
without-
the box and somebody sees you,
or it's
you're
just an
being
opportunity to say,
Right.
don't do this.
All right, well, so we need them hand in hand, but this outside is littering, dumping, punishable by a fine of blah, 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 and then it would have to be Southbridge Board of Health ordinance, such and such, that makes littering something that's.
Eventually,
If-
I mean, I
if it's
think I don't think we don't have an ordinance now.
Right, so if this is put in the ordinance and the board votes a penalty, this becomes part of the ordinance, the penalty becomes part of the ordinance, of this ordinance, separate from the litter.
I see
And I
it the
agree,
opposite way
and I agree,
around.
we should be looking at a litter ordinance.
I
If
agree
the litter
with,
ordinance is referenced in here, but it isn't established in here.
No.
We're quite close to the same thing. I completely agree with what you're saying about putting the sign on it and saying that it's punishable by a fine, but the fine is defined.
No, I agree with you, we need a litter ordinance, but I think we can put this out without having a litter ordinance in place yet. I don't think we need to do a litter ordinance. Can we just see by per Board of Health, or, you know, by order of the Board of Health, and not reference a litter ordinance right now? And then when we make new stickers, we actually reference.
If we adopt this ordinance, and this is in the ordinance we have adopted,
And
we have identified specifically that this event is littering,
Right,
and therefore this event under this ordinance
And this
is
is
punishable.
covered, right? So
Right,
it's
in this
also the whole
situation.
thing.
In this situation, it doesn't cover all littering, it's just littering under this. I think we just come up with a number here, and then we move on to the litter ordinance at some later date. Anyone want to suggest a number? What makes sense that's appropriate with our, Andy, what makes sense that's appropriate with our current fee schedule?
I don't think we can relate it to our fee schedule. The only penalties that we have adopted outside of what the state defaults to in some of their regulations is our tobacco regulations, which are progressive penalties of 100, 200, and 300, I believe. So anywhere within that realm would be,
If you leave it higher, where it doesn't belong, it costs $100. So if you leave the chair or the balance box,
I prefer,
box,
I'm okay
We're
with
looking at
that.
100, 200, or 300?
just 100. Just 100, because you
100?
can't really keep track of
100?
100. But I want to see it as a separate
Dave likes bigger numbers.
standalone ordinance.